the frequency of these incidents? Are we seeing a steady line, an increase, a decrease? What are you seeing?
So last year, El Paso County and Teller County received about 18,000 calls to report suspected child abuse. That is higher than anywhere else in Colorado. And of those thousands of calls, hundreds of kids end up being removed from their homes, placed in foster care, placed with relatives. Some kids are placed in residential treatment facilities. And Casa doesn't take all of the cases, mainly because we don't have enough volunteers to take all of the cases. Volunteers only assigned one case at a time. But in the last fiscal year, we advocated for 657 of those kiddos.
That's tremendous work. Good Saturday morning, Southern Colorado. Welcome to True North. I am your host, Dirk Hobbs. I am so glad you're with us today as it's November 16th. We're midway through November already. And, before you know it, it's going to be the silly season where you've got a million things to do. And it seems like right now in November, you've got all the time in the world. But then next week is Thanksgiving, and the following week is all of a sudden you're in December. And it's insane. It seems to accelerate halfway through the month of November. Anyway, it's a gorgeous day out there. And I am so glad you're with us. We got our final game here for the Air Force Falcons. They are hosting Oregon State Beavers. I think this is the first time the Oregon State Beavers have been here. And it's going to be a fun night. They took care of business with San Jose State last week, and they did a great job. They were in a deficit early on, as expected. But then they turned up the heat and managed to pull out a win. So they're 2-7 going into their last game here. Obviously, no postseason activity for the Falcons this year, but all indications were, and this is easy to say after the fact, but rebuilding year, it is what it is. And, I go to the Air Force Falcons games because they are fun. It's a great stadium. It's easy to get on and off base. Occasionally there'll be a little bit of traffic out there. The stadium is terrific. It's a lot of fun to go out there. Of course, you have the flyovers and all the celebratory stuff and all the pomp and circumstance. And it's just a great way to spend a Saturday. And it is NCAA Division I football. So we've got to support that as a community. And next season, I want to see that stadium packed. I want to see folks from Pueblo, from Trinidad, from South Denver. Of course, all of us here in Colorado Springs pile in there. All the area high school teams should be there watching this because these are some of the most disciplined athletes in the country. And I'll tell you why. I mean, obviously, when you think of college football, the marquee brands stand out. You've got Alabama, LSU, Georgia, Michigan, UCLA, maybe USC, Duke, Notre Dame, all the great schools that you saw on TV growing up. And yes, they are fantastic programs. But this program, like the other two academies, so you've got the Army, Black Knights, and then you've got the Naval Academy. These young folks, there's a limit to what they can do in terms of size. So when you go to Alabama, it's not unusual to see a 275 to 315 pound linebacker or defensive lineman or even an O-lineman. Okay, these are big kids, corn-fed harvest kids, right? So these are very, very big boys. The Air Force, Army, and Naval Academy kids are, they're going to be smaller. And I interviewed Troy Calhoun one year, and he said, all my kids can see their belt buckles. And that kind of resonated with me because they have to be lean. They have to be fit. And so they're at a somewhat disadvantage right from the get-go because they can't pack on those extra pounds. And in football, a lot of it is weight and momentum and inertia. So you've got all that going on down on the field. But anyway, I love going to the games. I love grabbing a couple of cold beers, a couple of dogs, hanging out with my kids, hanging out with some friends. It's a great way to spend a weekend. I hope you will join me next season in celebrating NCAA Division I football. They stayed here. They're with the Mountain West Division. There's going to be some new teams coming in. That's exciting news. And we're going to see some new football helmets come through here in Colorado Springs. And it's still going to be great football. So, it's not that expensive. I mean, to go to an Alabama or Notre Dame game or, heck, even Ole Miss where I went, you've got to pay upwards of $150 to $300 just to get in the stadium on a Saturday. And that's if your team, regardless of whether your team's 9-0 or if they're 4-5 going into the next game, it just doesn't matter. It is a celebration down there. It's a time for people to get together, barbecue. We've got to create a better tailgating scene out at the Air Force Academy. I think that's a great opportunity to spark up some barbecue and some other things and just get that Colorado Springs thing going. Anyway, I digress. But welcome to the program. Glad you're here. We're going to spend most of today talking to some nonprofit leaders in the community, and I want to help us take a deep breath, slow everything down, because we are about to go headlong into the silly season, into the Christmas season, into the holiday season, and it's going to get nuts out there. So we've just had a big election. Everybody's starting to come down off that ride. And congratulations to all the winners and condolences to all the folks who put up a good fight to get the offices they were looking for. But now it's time, come back together and just go forward. Go forward. Leave the nonsense behind. Leave the bickering and the partisan stuff behind. It's really easy to fall into that trap. And I would encourage everybody, just slow down, take a deep breath, and intentionally take in this holiday season. It's a gift. My wife, Casa, is in Thailand right now. She is in a district called Pattaya, which is south of Bangkok. It's about 8,500 miles from here. And it is a beautiful country, right? But she is there with the Exodus Road, and she is sending back pictures of the living conditions of the average person in Pattaya in southern Thailand. And I can tell you from these pictures, and they're beautiful in one sense, and then they're heartbreaking in another sense. But the gift and the pleasures and the plentiful, bountiful elements that we have here in the United States, there's no comparison. There's some videos she sent over of look like two men working on some wood chip machine. And there was a little girl there. She was probably 6 or 7 years old, and she was just sitting there, barefoot. She had clothes on, but she was just sitting there and just hanging out. Anyway, that was her day. That was her average day, is to go into that area where her, dad or uncle or brothers work, and that is her day. She just says she doesn't go to school. There's no school to go to. And then she showed some pictures of the homes and the dwellings where people lived. And in the kitchen, there was little more than a few cans of product, a bottle of water and a bottle of cooking oil and a few pans. And these were tiny areas. So there wasn't this shelf of plenty and options and all those good things. But it was really, really special to see the difference between what we have here, the bounty, and what they have there. which is lack thereof. But the thing that struck me was everybody in the picture was smiling. They were glad to be there. They were glad to be alive. They were glad to have their families and their friends, and now these visitors coming through. And surely that's not every day, but it just kind of galvanizes in my mind how much we have. So I just want to encourage us to slow things down, take it in, take in the blessings that we have here in the United States as American citizens, regardless of our party affiliation, regardless of our beliefs. We are here in the land of plenty. We have lived in a blessed land for a very, very long time. And it's up to us to continue to do that. And no politician's going to tear this thing down single-handedly, folks. Not a Democrat, not a Republican. It's just not going to happen. We as a country can come together and experience the bounty that we've been given, slow it down, take it in, and just enjoy it. Just enjoy the moments and take your kid shopping. Take your kid out for an ice cream or a hot cup of cocoa for that matter. Go on a date with your spouse or a friend. Go out and enjoy the snow, the sun, and everything in between. And just enjoy this season because it's going to be gone before you know it. So my question and challenge to you in Southern Colorado is, what are you going to do to make this holiday season something extraordinary, something beyond just getting through it, getting the shopping done, wrapped and packaged so everybody can tear through it the next morning? What are you going to do to make sure that on the other side of this holiday season, when January, February come around, that you look back on the Christmas or the holiday season of 2024 and say, that was a very special time. I slowed everything down. I was able to take it in. I was able to appreciate the small things, the gatherings, the people, the ability to get around, the ability to have a lot of food and celebration without the threat of bombs or missiles or an invasion of some kind, or the pangs of hunger or want or need. So just slow everything down. Enjoy this holiday season. In the next few quarters, I'm going to introduce you to three very special people. They run organizations here in Colorado Springs in particular, and also the Pikes Peak region. And they are areas where they come in contact with people who have less than most of us do, or they're in a very difficult circumstance. And they're just going to share some insights into what their organization does and how you can affect change in people's lives by dedicating some of those resources that you have to these organizations, whether it's time, treasure, or talent. So stick with us. We're going to get back to, we're going to start with Karen Share and a gentleman named Nate Springer. He's going to come online and we're going to have a nice conversation with him and get to know the Karen Share, especially as we go into the Thanksgiving season, where people are looking for food and a way to celebrate with their families. Stick with us. We're back in a moment.
The U.S. Senior Open is back at the Broadmoor next summer. Don't miss your chance to witness world-class golf at one of the most iconic resorts. This holiday season, give the ultimate gift to your favorite golfer. Exclusive holiday packages including tickets, lanyards, and an official hat are now available while supplies last. Don't miss out on this unforgettable experience. Get yours today at ussenioropen.com.
All right, we're back here, second quarter with True North on this 16th of November. And again, folks, thanks for listening in that first quarter. And hopefully you'll take that to heart and maybe just slow things down and enjoy the holiday season as we get going into it here very, very strongly. Because as I said, time seems to accelerate once you get past the first week in November. Certainly after Halloween. But on the line, I have a very special guest. His name is Nate Springer, and he is the president and CEO of Karen Share Food Bank of Southern Colorado. Now, this organization serves, get this, folks, 29 counties in Colorado. That's nearly half the state. And I want to welcome Nate to the program. Thanks for joining me this morning, sir. How are you?
Oh, doing great. It's an honor to be on. Thank you.
Well, I'm glad to have you here. And I want folks, because I think hopefully I've got my audience kind of settled in with a cup of coffee and they're just listening as to how they can participate and affect meaningful change or meaningful inspiration in this holiday season. And part of that is our end of year giving cycle. And it's a healthy exercise for every individual, every family out there to give a little bit away of the bounty that we all have. Now, I'd like people to better understand your organization, Nate, what you do, how many people you serve, and what it's all about.
Absolutely. So the Karen Share Food Bank for Southern Colorado, first, it's been a really neat time to be part of it. In October, we passed our 50th anniversary, so it's fun to say now that we're just over a month into our 6th decade of contributing to food security across Southern Colorado.
Wow.
So we have 289 partner agencies that are food pantries across the southern part of the state. They get a portion of their food from Care and Share. So every year we put about 25 million pounds of food out the doors of our 3 distribution centers, the one here in Colorado Springs, one in Pueblo, and one in Alamosa. 25 million pounds of food is about 21 million meals for an equivalency. That food goes to those partner agencies for free, and then they're able to take that food, and that supplements them, helps them provide food security for their counties, their cities, and their communities. So Care and Share, we'll never end hunger in Southern Colorado, but boy, we take a big bite out of it.
It sure sounds like it. 21 million meals. So what does that play out to be? I mean, when you say you can't stop hunger in Colorado Springs or food insecurities in Southern Colorado, that seems like an awful lot that you guys are producing. How does that calculate out?
It sure is. Well, I'll just tell you what I'm seeing, why the lines are long at food pantries is, over this last few years, just the basic cost of goods have gone up, your gas, your utilities, your rental, and then, of course, the cost of food. And so as what we see is we have a whole bunch of individuals and families that are right on the threshold, just hanging on paycheck to paycheck. And as things in the external environment get more expensive, they have to get creative on how they're going to pay those fixed costs. I would say one of the easiest ways to supplement your income right now is to go to a food pantry and get some help with your groceries so that you can pay those fixed costs. So as things continue to get more expensive, we're going to continue to see more and more people, having to go to a food pantry and ask for help. An amazing number of, those 289 partner agencies that we have the honor of supporting. Every year, unduplicated, 280,000 people walk into one of those food pantries at least once across the southern part of the state. So it's just an enormous honor to get to support this network.
Indeed. Now, on November 22nd, you've got a thing called Take a Turkey to Work Day. How does that work, and how can individuals and companies participate?
Yep, so we'll be partnered with KKTV from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. at all the King Supers across Colorado Springs, Pueblo, and Alamosa. And the idea is that, hey, rally your workplace to grab a turkey on the way into work. If you go to King Supers, you can drop it off with our teams of volunteers. They'll be right outside the doors. Or you can bring them to our distribution centers, the one in here in Colorado Springs, Pueblo, or Alamosa. It's such a fun day. It's one of my the days we enjoy the most at Care and Share. We'll collect about 3,000 turkeys on Friday, November 22nd. And then the whole team comes in the next day, and we distribute turkeys to all of the partner agencies and people that are going to need them on that Saturday to make sure that every one of those turkeys winds up on someone's dining room table for Thanksgiving.
That is a beautiful gift. Thank you for doing that, by the way. Now, you said...
Yeah, it's a really neat thing.
280-some thousand folks are lined up in these pantries every week. What are some of the statistics around this?
So unduplicated, I think the caveat to it, we see 280,000 people a year unduplicated, meaning they've walked in at least once.
Gotcha.
The caveat to it, though, is that most people that need help don't need help just once. And so we see,
That's right.
Everyone's different. So we see a lot of people that need help for a number of weeks or a number of months before they can get back on their feet. Mm-hmm. And there's a whole bunch of ways. Every one of the listeners can help a neighbor in need. You can donate to Care and Share. If we go to our website at www.careandshare, that's all one word, .org, you'll see the donate button at the very top. And then there's a find food button too. So if you're out there and you need some help, you're 2 clicks away from finding food. You click the find food button, put your address or zip code in and press enter. And every one of the partner agencies we support across Southern Colorado will come up in your zip code with the times they're open and the directions to get there. But you can donate, you can volunteer your time. We have a very small paid staff for being such a large organization. And we rely on about 6,000 volunteers a year to come into our facilities and help us pack food. And so, boy, volunteering your time is important. And then food drives. You can do a food drive in your house, in your neighborhood, in your school, in your church, and drop that food off at Care and Share. So what's so great about our network is if you want to help out there, it doesn't matter who you are, your socioeconomic class, you can help a neighbor in need this holiday season.
Is there ever too much that we could give, Nate?
Boy, I wish. I so wish. No, there's never too much. And I think maybe a misnomer is that the need goes up at the holiday season. It doesn't. It's very consistent across the year. Why we enjoy the holiday season so much is because what does go up is people's generosity and kindness, and people think about others during the holiday season. And it's such a neat thing to be just a small part of people's lives across Southern Colorado. Mm-hmm. You know, food is what unites us. When you think about the holidays, family and friends gather around tables to have meals and to help put those meals on the table so we can help people have those great memories of the holidays. It's just something very special.
Can you give us some idea, Nate, of one in however many people in Southern Colorado are affected by food insecurity?
Yeah, it's 1 in 9 adults and about 1 in 7 children right now across Southern Colorado are considered food insecure. And so, you know, every one of your listeners, everyone listening to this right now, you know someone who needs some help in the holidays. And, you know, it takes a lot of honor and pride to walk into a food pantry and to say, hey, I need help. And so many of those people just won't do it. Mm-hmm. And so I would just say that really it's a time to really be in tune with your family and your friends and your neighbors and just make sure you understand what's going on so you can help those who need to be helped this year.
Now, when you're asking folks to donate, they can donate product. Can they also donate cash or other elements? Absolutely.
So you can always donate food. You know, food is a currency at Care and Share for sure. Why we exist, you know, we're part of the Feeding America network. So food banks across the country are part of Feeding America. In fact, every county in the United States is covered by a Feeding America food bank, including Care and Share. And that relationship gives us unbelievable buying power. When we purchase food by the semi-truck load full. So that's kind of the first economy of scale we get. And then through Feeding America, large corporations like Del Monte and Tyson, mm-hmm. Feeding America is their philanthropy because they're the largest charitable food system in the country. So we get that first savings through buying it bulk at the semi-truck level, and we get the second savings at buying straight from the distributor. Mm-hmm. So we can really take a dollar and stretch it a long way.
Sounds like it. Now, when we're doing this here in Southern Colorado, how can we really affect change for Care and Share, not only through the holiday season here, but through the entire year? As you mentioned, this isn't just a seasonal challenge. It's a year-long challenge for a lot of families who are among the working poor and who just, you know, have been affected by the last 4 years of inflation and other, you know, dynamics that have just emptied our wallets in many cases.
Yeah, I think the best advice I have, you know, I've been in this work this is my 3rd year, and I've been really educated over the last 2.5 years. You know, you have your idea of who's going to need help when you come into this work, and I think I was about 25% right. The wide demographic of need across our area. You know, it's full-time employees, it's dual income employees, it's young professionals. It's just not what you think.
Yeah.
And so my best advice to you is to come out to the distribution centers at Care and Share and volunteer and see what we do. And then maybe more importantly, those 289 partner agencies that we're honored to support, you know, they're helping people every day. You can go on that Find Food button, figure out which food pantries are near you, and go volunteer at one of those. You know, go and see who the people are that are coming and needing some help. And I think you'll be surprised with the wide demographic. So the charitable food system across the state, we really need help every month. And, your time and talent, it can really be used at both the Care and Share distribution centers and then all the partner agencies we support.
careandshare.org. It's a great website. And right at the front, you're going to be met with the messaging at Care and Share Food Bank. We believe no one should go hungry. There's a find food button there, and there's a donate now. I want to give you about 30 seconds to give us your best instructions to get involved with Care and Share, Nate.
Yeah, the best way to get involved with Care and Share is to do one of three things. It's to donate to our network on the website. It's to go to our volunteer page on the website. The next 30 days of rolling volunteer opportunities are on there. Pick one of those volunteer opportunities, bring your family and friends, and just feel it for yourself on what the impact of the Care and Share Food Bank is. If you can't do those two things, go through your cupboards. Find food that you're not going to eat. Find good shelf-stable food, and come and drop it off at our distribution center. Make it a family affair. Or you can do that with your neighborhood, your school, or your church. Any help is great help to Care and Share Food Bank.
We are so honored to have you in this community, Nate. Thank you so much for what you all do there. You, your staff, and the volunteers at Care and Share. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
All right, folks, we're back in a moment with our next group from Casa of the Pikes Peak region. Back in a moment.
The ultimate gift is now available. This holiday season, treat the golf fan in your life to an unforgettable experience at the 2025 U.S. Senior Open at the Broadmoor. Special holiday ticket packages are available while supplies last at ussenioropen.com.
All right, we're back here, third quarter with True North. Glad you're with us. I want to thank our sponsors, Colorado Springs Orthopedic Group, and our friends over at the Boot Barn Hall. This is the guys that bring us venue and the new Ford Amphitheater. We certainly appreciate your support as we mosey on into the morning here on this November 16th. We're headlong into the holiday season. Soon, folks, you're going to feel that momentum pick up and that speed. And all of a sudden, we'll be sitting there singing Old Lang Syne, ringing in 2025. I do want to send out a few announcements for you. Shop Local, Win Local has begun, and this is an incentive by the Bank of Colorado with some of the folks down at the Downtown Partnership. And through December 8th, every $50 you spend at downtown retail businesses earns you an entry to win one of 4 gift baskets valued at over $150, plus a $150 downtown gift card, or the grand prize of $1,000. It's a Visa gift card, courtesy of the Bank of Colorado. So thank you to Dan Nordberg and his team over at the Bank of Colorado for partnering up with the good folks down at the Downtown Partnership and all those retailers and restaurants down there. This is a great initiative. And all you got to do is email copies of your receipts to prize@downtowncs.com to be entered to win. Entries will be accepted through December 8th. So make sure to participate in that. Who knows? You could be the lucky winner of a $1,000 Visa gift card this year or one of those great gift baskets. But regardless of what you're going to do, you have the opportunity to keep that tax base and that retail revenue here in Southern Colorado. Whether you're in Pueblo, Trinidad, Alamosa, Colorado Springs, Woodland Park, Castle Rock, doesn't matter where you are. Now, Amazon's great. Amazon is a great thing. It's a great tool. If you got relatives and family and friends in other parts of the country and you want to get something to them quick, it's great, right? Or if you have a last minute idea you just thought about and maybe they can get it to you quick. But before you do that, maybe start now with some local shopping and get out there and support our local retailers because we love having them there in those restaurants. We love having them there, but we got to go visit them and participate to keep them here. So shop local. It's more than a slogan. It's an action item. So anyway, part 2 of our series here on some of the local 501c3s in the region. We had Care and Share on with Nate Springer just a few minutes ago. And now I've got Keri Kahn from Casa on the line with me. Keri, are you there?
I'm here. Hi, Dirk.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
All right. We're good. We are rolling along. So tell us the full name of this organization and give us an executive summary of what Casa does here in Southern Colorado.
Yes, Casa stands for Court Appointed Special Advocate. And what we do is recruit, train, and support volunteers from the community to provide a voice for and advocate for children who are involved in the family court system and the foster care system because they have been abused or neglected. It is a national program. There's about, I think, 950 Casa organizations across the country. Casa of the Pikes Peak region covers the 4th Judicial District, which is El Paso County and Teller County. We have been here in Colorado Springs since 1989, and during that time we have served and changed the lives of more than 25,000 children.
25,000. That's an extraordinary body of work, Keri. And what's the time frame that you all have supported that many children?
Since 1989. So help me with the math. Would that be 35 years?
Yeah.
35 years.
That's an incredible body of work right there. So 25,000 kiddos have been affected by this work. How does one get involved with Casa, and what are some of the intricate parts of volunteering with the organization?
Yes. So we have several programs people can volunteer with. I'm going to talk about the one that we're most known for. It's called the Dependency and Neglect Program, but it is what people think of when they hear of a Casa advocate.
Okay.
We call our volunteers advocates. And what they do, it's really, we call them advocates because I don't think volunteer really matches up with what they do. Advocate is a great word. It's like a life choice they're making to stick up for these children. But what they do is they go through a pretty extensive training process. It takes about 2 weeks. And after they're done, they become officers of the court. They're sworn in at the courthouse by a judge, and they take an oath to stand up for and advocate for kids. And so when these kids come into the child welfare system, when there are allegations of child abuse and neglect and the children are not safe, oftentimes they are removed from their homes and placed in foster care. Mm-hmm. And while the purpose of that is to keep the children safe and get them on a better path forward, it is extremely traumatic and chaotic for them. They're leaving their homes, their parents. Oftentimes they're separated from their siblings. They change schools. Everything changes. But these kids still have to go to school, go to the doctor, go to their therapy appointments. They still have to behave. They still have to make good grades.
Right.
But at the same time, they're dealing with all this change. And so our Casa advocates come in and stand by them. They become a consistent adult in these kids' lives, and they go, they write court reports. They learn the ins and outs of what's going on with these kids, and they take that information back to the judge so that the judge will have everything he or she needs to make the best possible decision.
Well, and, you know, we've been through a 4-year stretch here, maybe a little longer for some, maybe a little shorter for some, but we've been on a stretch here where our economy has put a lot of strain on families. Mm-hmm. That has a profound impact on the family dynamic, and things can get out of control pretty quick. That stressor of not being able to provide for your family or not having job security, food security, or other things. And ultimately, you know, kids may not be the direct impact or the direct victim of that parent's outburst or frustration. They may be an indirect victim, if you will. But when they are a direct victim, that's really when you guys step in. Is that accurate?
Yes. Yeah, I would say most of our cases are child neglect. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times, more often than not, that neglect is caused by untreated mental health issues and untreated substance abuse issues with the parents.
Gotcha.
And we all know that stressors lead to substance abuse. So if you are If you have lost your job and you're dealing with financial stress or something like that, that could drive a parent to do things they shouldn't do, which can often result in a cycle of child abuse or neglect. And a lot of times these parents, they just need some extra support. A lot of our cases end up with the kids getting reunified with their parents after the parents receive the support they need and get their lives back on track.
So statistically speaking, how are we doing here in the 4th Judicial District as it relates to, the frequency of these incidents? Are we seeing a steady line, an increase, a decrease? What are you seeing?
So I think it's been the last, I'm going to say 10, 15 years. I don't know the exact number, but the Pikes Peak region historically has had the highest number of calls to the child abuse and neglect hotline out of the entire state of Colorado. So last year, El Paso County and Teller County received about 18,000 calls to report suspected child abuse. That is higher than anywhere else in Colorado. And what happens when a call comes in, it goes to the Department of Human Services, and they are the ones that decide whether or not a family needs services or there needs to be some kind of intervention. And of those thousands of calls, hundreds of kids end up being removed from their homes, placed in foster care, placed with relatives. Some kids are placed in residential treatment facilities. And Casa doesn't take all of the cases, mainly because we don't have enough volunteers to take all of the cases. Volunteers only assigned one case at a time. But in the last fiscal year, we advocated for 657 of those kiddos.
That's tremendous, tremendous work. Keri, I want to give you about a minute and a half to give us your best call to action for the people out there who this is touching their heart and they want to get involved, whether it's financially, donations, time, talent, treasure. What would you say to them?
Yes. I would say if your heartstrings are tugged by vulnerable children, do something about it. There are lots of things you can do. You can become a volunteer. If the advocacy program is not the right fit for you, we have other programs you can volunteer with. So please check us out, casappr.org. We have volunteer information sessions about twice a month. You can sign up for one of those, come learn more. And if volunteering is not for you, I would say consider a financial gift. It does cost about $1,200 a year to serve one child with one advocate.
Okay.
And the cool thing about donating to Casa, real quick, is that it qualifies you for the Colorado Child Care Contribution Tax Credit, which is an extra savings on your taxes at the end of the year. So that's something to consider. And we appreciate all the support we can get to help out all these kiddos who have done nothing wrong and just need a little extra support.
Indeed they do. Keri Kahn has been on the line with us. Keri, thank you so much for giving us a little window into Casa. If you go to the website, casappr.org, you'll see you can change a child's story as a Casa volunteer, and it costs about $1,200 a year for each child. So if this is the philanthropy of choice for you, please get involved at casappr.org. Keri, thank you so much for joining us and giving this window into Casa.
Thanks for having me, Dirk.
You bet. All right, folks, we're back in a few moments, and we'll talk with the Salvation Army.
The U.S. Senior Open is back at the Broadmoor next summer. Don't miss your chance to witness world-class golf at one of the most iconic resorts. This holiday season, give the ultimate gift to your favorite golfer. Exclusive holiday packages including tickets, lanyards, and an official hat are now available while supplies last. Don't miss out on this unforgettable experience. Get yours today at ussenioropen.com.
All right, we're back here in the fourth quarter of True North on this November 16th. It's a beautiful, cool morning here in Southern Colorado, but I'm glad you're with us. If you've been tracking with us, we've been introduced to a couple of great people in the community, and we're going to introduce you to one more. So far, we've had Nate Springer over at Karen Share. and you can get involved with the food bank there and help some folks with food insecurities, not just this holiday season, but throughout the year. So this is obviously an ongoing challenge for a lot of the folks that are out there, whether they're working or not. There's been a lot of strain on our economy and on our individual wallets this year, but nothing feels better than putting a little out there for somebody else. So you can go to Care and Share Food Bank of Southern Colorado and check them out. Also, Casa of the Pikes Peak region. We spoke with Keri over there about some of the kids that are impacted by changes in the household and how you can get involved there. So we're gonna button this up with one of the great organizations in the world when it comes to the holiday season, and you definitely, I mean, they're here all year round, of course, but during the holiday seasons when we really see them out there, typically in front of our grocery stores and other retail outlets, and this is the Salvation Army. And I have the privilege of speaking with Jeane Turner of the Salvation Army here in Southern Colorado. Jeane, are you on the line with me? Are you there?
Yes. Hey, good morning.
Good
How are you?
So glad you're here. You know, I love when these guys come out, we drop our spare change and that. It is red kettle season, isn't it?
It is. We're kicking it off. Actually, this weekend they should be ending up in almost all the stores. We kind of the stores allow us to kind of unveil them a little bit at a time, so they don't all show up at once. But just an interesting, fun little bit of trivia for your listeners. Did you realize that the song Silver Bells was written about the Salvation Army ringing the bells? Because when the silver bells start to come out, soon it will be Christmas time.
It's Christmas time in the city. And here we are.
Right.
I did not know that. That's a great piece of trivia. I did not know that. Very good.
All the trivia. Yeah. So that's kind of fun. And I love that you are highlighting some of these organizations that just do so much in our community, not only during the holidays, but all year long. And yeah, Salvation Army, we are definitely one of those. This is our busiest time of the year. Mm-hmm. We have so many things going on, not just those red kettlebells ringing. That is our largest fundraiser of the year. We can't do this without the help of the community.
Now, who are the recipients, target audience, if you will? I hate that expression in this context, but to help our listeners orient who you are serving as you go into, year after year, it's because it's not just the holiday season, although you do a lot of business this time of year. It's throughout the year. Who do you serve and how do you serve them?
Right. So we primarily serve veterans, families, and seniors. And, our numbers last year, we served over 25,000 people with some type of service. And that is 1 in every 30 people in El Paso County is receiving services from the Salvation Army. So we are definitely one of the biggest. Our reach is huge. We have a food pantry, an after-school program. We're the only family shelter currently in town. We serve 31 families and about 60 to 70 kids every night at our family shelter. And we also have one of the largest veteran transitional housing programs and one of the most successful ones in the state. So we just do so much here in the community, and people don't even realize it, that every bit of change that they put into those kettles, it truly is changing lives right here in our community. And all of that money stays right here locally to help these programs all year round.
Indeed. So those kettles account for a good portion of the holiday season needs. Do you have a bead on about how much you guys take in over the last quarter here?
Yes, so we have about a $6 million budget, so we rely heavily on donations all year long. But this campaign brings in about $500,000 for us.
That's terrific.
And like I said, it adds up and it helps provide meals. We're getting ready to serve about 2,500 free community meals for Thanksgiving. Mm-hmm. And we serve in 4 locations, in Manitou, up in Woodland Park, and down in Fountain Valley, and then, of course, at our Salvation Army Corps at 908 Yuma. So it not only provides meals, it provides shelter. It's just a huge part, not only of raising money for us, but just getting us out there visibly in the community and letting people know that the Salvation Army is there.
Absolutely. Well, Jeane, how can people specifically get involved? I mean, there's a donation component. Can they volunteer? Can they get involved in other ways?
we absolutely need volunteers, not only to volunteer at the Red Kettle sites, and if they want to volunteer to ring the bell, it's so much fun. My boys have been doing it since they were in elementary school, and they still do it even with their businesses and their companies. So I encourage people to go on our website, or they can go to registertoring.com and put in our zip code and pick some sites to volunteer at the Red Kettles. But not only at those Red Kettles, we need volunteers every single day in our food pantry. That's open Wednesdays and Fridays, and we need people all week long to help sort food and to get that food ready to give out to clients. Mm-hmm. We also need volunteers to help serve on Thanksgiving Day. Like I said, we're serving over 2,000 meals, and that takes a big community of volunteers to help with that. And then, of course, donating. Any little bit helps during this holiday season. And all of these things, they can go to our website, which is helpcoloradosprings.com, and find out more information on all of this stuff. They can even start their own virtual Red Kettle, which is also a fun way do a little bit of peer-to-peer fundraising and encourage your family and friends to support such a great cause here in our community.
Well, as Jeannie said, helpcoloradosprings.com is the website. So if you just type Salvation Army in there, you'll probably get a link to the national site. So it's helpcoloradosprings.com if you want to affect change right here in the region. Right? It's a great website. Right. Register to Ring is right there. So there's a big red button there. And your dollar goes far, but not far away. I love that slogan, Jeane, because this is the money stays here, and we affect change and assistance for people right here, the seniors, the veterans, and some of the kiddos you were talking about.
That's right. And a lot of people don't realize that because the Salvation Army is one of the largest non-government social service providers in the world. They don't realize that everything every Salvation Army does is funded, and the money stays right in that community. So everything we're doing here in Colorado is, from the support of the community. We have to fund it locally, and it stays right here in our community. And the fun part about the holidays, I think, is that there's so many opportunities for people to come alongside of us and just show the love of Jesus to people this holiday, and just, reach out and be caring. And whether it's giving a gift for a child, whether it's putting some money in that kettle, there's just so many ways for people to come alongside and just share love this holiday.
I appreciate it. And you can get to know some neighbors. Now, are you ever short on bell ringers?
We're always short on bell ringers.
Oh, really?
Which is why many people might have seen that we did a big campaign this year to actually hire bell ringers. So we hired more this year than ever before because, that's also a ministry in itself. Yeah. Because it gives people who need a little extra money during the holidays, it gives them an opportunity to earn some money. But we have 56 kettle sites throughout the city that we could man. And last year, we only captured about 45% of the kettle hours and locations that we could capture. So really? We always need volunteers, especially we encourage the volunteers to sign up for like Thursday, Fridays, and Saturdays. Yeah. Because the volunteer kettles bring in a lot more than some of our paid workers because they want to be there and they're usually with their friends and they're energetic. They might have a costume, be playing music. So we always need volunteers.
You can make a party out of it. Well, that sounds like fun. So, but you can volunteer to ring as well. You don't necessarily have to get paid, right?
Yeah, no, we actually really, really, really need volunteers as well. And like I said, that's a lot of kettle hours and a lot of kettle locations. So I would love it if everybody at least check out our website, Register to Ring, and see if there's a location or a date that you might be able to help out for a couple of hours. We like people to take a 2-hour shift.
2 hours, okay.
It is so fun. I do it every year with my family, kids of all ages. I mean, it is really, truly a fun family tradition for people to start considering out there. And even, older people, we have lots of service groups, churches, businesses. It is just a great team building and fun thing to do.
Indeed it is. And you can spread some holiday cheer in front of your local King Soopers or any other grocery outlet or retail organization. I mean, what better way? I mean, this is an institution, Jeane. Not only, for the Christmas season, for the holiday season, to be able to drop your change in those drawers, but also to donate. And what do you need this season in particular from the community?
If they want to donate items, we're getting ready the angel trees are coming out throughout the city. So I would encourage people, if they want to help a child in need, they can bring a toy. They can drop it off at Big R. They can pick up angel tree tags and do a specific child. Those are at Walmart around town. So toys are always a great thing this time of year. We're helping about 500 families, which equates to over 1,200 kids. So we need toys for all those kiddos. We also need them to fill stockings for teens. They can grab stockings from us. And then food items. We always, kind of like Care and Share and some of the great other organizations you've talked with today, we're all out there trying to help fight food insecurity in our community because it's been growing. The cost of groceries and the cost of living is really hard on some of these working poor families. So I would say food, toys, or your time. Just volunteer your time.
We appreciate it. That's been Jeane Turner on the line with me, and she's with the Salvation Army here in Southern Colorado. You can go to helpcoloradosprings.com, helpcoloradosprings.com. Jeane, thank you so much for giving us some insights into what you all do here.
Thank you.
We appreciate you very much, and we appreciate all the guests that have joined us today. Nate Springer at Care and Share Food Bank of Southern Colorado, Keri Kahn of Casa of the Pikes Peak region, and of course, Jeane Turner here in Southern Colorado for the Salvation Army. Folks, it's a great time to give. It's a great time to be a part of the celebration of life and liberty here in the United States and in our country. And as Jeane said, it's a great way to show the heart of Christ as we ring in this holiday season. So again, slow things down, enjoy the holiday season, and we look forward to seeing you next week here on True North. Thanks for being here.